I want your thoughts on Kimi Antonelli, Logan. Obviously, it was his home race at the Italian Grand Prix, but another kind of disappointing result, and it was the first time Toto Wolff has publicly kind of criticized Antonelli, if you could call it that. He called his performance underwhelming, and some people would think, "Oh, well, that's not too much and not really much for criticism." But this is the man who absolutely devoted everything into getting Antonelli into that Mercedes seat and has defended him to the hill despite the results that Antonelli has suffered this season. What are your thoughts on Kimi? Do you think it's still something that Mercedes need to just bide their time with, or is the pressure starting to get on the young Italian now?
They absolutely got to bide their time. I've talked about it time and time again. Yeah, sorry I'm leaning back. My lower back was killing me.
It's okay, don't worry.
Uh, uh, I've talked about it time and time again. I think the pipeline runs too quickly in Formula One. Let's be real. Think of all your favorite drivers, all the great drivers, even drivers that were decent but had long careers. When was their prime? At least, at the earliest, late 20s, if not early to mid 30s. And we got people making it into F1 and failing out 6, 7, 8 years before you see the true potential of them. The pipeline just runs too quick. I think they should have known what they're getting into with Antonelli. Yeah, he's not going to be as good as a 10-year experience for Verstappen. Leclerc has great years of experience. Norris. You can't expect him to be that right away. For him to be where he's at and have races where he's only a tenth or two behind Russell already, as young as he is in comparison, and arguably at least a decade before his prime. If this is Antonelli a decade before his prime, watch out. But you got to stick with it, especially if you're committed to getting a young driver into a team like this. You got to stick it out. I don't care if he has a bad season. Watch what he becomes in 10 years if he's still around. One of two things will happen. In the next decade, he will be a world champion. And we will all be like, yeah, Antonelli. Who cares if he wasn't great at the beginning? Look what he became. Or he's going to fail out before we will ever get a chance to see it, just like so many other drivers I can name.
Well, this is the thing. Not to play devil's advocate, Logan, but can Mercedes afford to wait for Antonelli to get good? Because if he takes 3 years to get there and he's still maybe not quite beating Russell, let's say, on, if they stayed teammates, um, is that worth the wait? Is that worth the wait of that long? I mean, Red Bull didn't have to wait that long until Verstappen was winning races.
Yeah, but I think Verstappen's arguably one of the best ever. We've never seen something like that.
But that's kind of my point, though. Is Antonelli worth waiting that long, though? If he's not going to be like one of those kind of drivers, is it
Yeah.
is it worth that?
I think it's worth it because they already have Russell, and we already know what he's capable of. Right? So my thought process would be like, this might be a bad comparison. What I'm saying, like, let's pretend this same thing was happening, but Antonelli went straight to the second Red Bull seat, right? It's like, who cares if it takes time for him to get good? Your team is a top tier driver that can win championships when you have a championship winning car, no doubt about it, which I think Russell is that. And then a guy that is the future and not awful right now. Like we're talking like he's awful. No, he's just not Russell yet. Okay, cool. We're chilling. We got the future and the present right here. You know
But
what I mean? Like that's the process. You get what I mean? That it's not like he's so bad
is he though?
that if let's pretend this. If it's a 2018 Mercedes right now, or let's pretend it's 2018 cars but with the current grid.
Mm.
Russell is still world champion and Mercedes is still constructors champion. Do you agree?
I struggle to agree, Logan, because Antonelli is struggling to just get in the points at the minute, and the problem is that's why Mercedes should comfortably this season be second in the constructors, but Ferrari, who have had an absolutely awful season, are ahead of Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. And I get your point, but that would happen in that 2018 season where Mercedes wouldn't win the Constructors because Antonelli is struggling so much. And I understand you're saying he's quite close to Russell, but I just don't think he is. I actually think he's quite far off Russell.
What I'm saying is, like, even if he's half a second off Russell, right? So let's even it all out. Some races he's 9 tenths behind, some races he's 1 or 2 tenths behind. Let's even it out and call it half a second for the sake of this conversation. If it's the 2018 cars with the bigger gaps in the field, half a second difference between your teammate and two Mercedes, you're still constructors champion.
Yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of the gap to everybody else. Yeah, sure.
Right. More that the field is so close that it exacerbates the differences.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fair
Think like
point. Yeah.
think 10 years ago if there's half a second between you and your teammate and you're in a front running car. All right, so you're first and third. But
Yeah.
now, especially when you're not in the best car of the grid, now you're fourth and 13th with the same gap between you and your teammate. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. It kind of exacerbates it when the field is just naturally closer.
Do you not think though Mercedes and for Antonelli actually, it would benefit all parties if they loaned him out to a team that was a bit more in the midfield or towards the back, and there wasn't maybe as much pressure on Antonelli, and just develop him for a couple of years. You have to remember in F2, he absolutely, he won a race or two, I think, there, but he, wasn't fighting for the championship or anything. Maybe he could go to, I don't know, they could chuck a load of money at Alpine, put him there for a season or two, develop him a bit more, and once he's really kind of shown some great pace, bring him back to Mercedes and put him in the car. Because at the end of the day, Logan, if come next season Mercedes have a championship winning car, well, he's not going to win the championship at the minute, is he?
He's not, but Russell will.
True. But is that enough? That's what I mean.
I feel
Is he worth this? I feel like there's a lot of effort that goes into him, but I haven't seen that Verstappen moment yet.
I think it is because, like I said, if he is at least 10 years from his prime, meaning he's going to get that much better, and he's already on a good day, only a tenth behind Russell, that's pretty good. Like if we had present Russell versus like 18-year-old 80% of the rest of the grid, this would be a lot uglier.
That is true, but I just feel
The
though,
whole
Logan.
each other in equal cars, Antonelli is one of the best, I think.
I don't know. I
The
just
whole grid.
haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I know he got that podium in Canada, but and he got what, the sprint pole in Miami, I think that was. But apart from that, he had what other kind of moment has he had? If you get what I mean, like say Verstappen when he started, yes, he was in the Toro Rosso, but he made some incredible overtakes, and he had some great results as well. I think Kota, he finished fourth in that Toro Rosso. Obviously, Hamilton, I don't need to say about him. Obviously, when he jumped in that McLaren straight away, he had those kind of
Yeah.
impacts. Same with Senna and Schumacher when they were in those smaller teams. I just feel with Antonelli, if he is having this much poured into him, he needs to be that level, because at the minute, I'm not seeing enough. And I think for him, I fear in terms of if the grid gets locked out, and the worst thing for me, Logan, is when he just doesn't score anything. I'd be totally cool if he was like, I sound like I'm like the Mercedes team principal here. I'm obviously not, but I'd be fine if he was like 8th place, 7th place, whatever. He's just not quite there yet. But it's when he's like way off, like how Sonoda is a bit at the minute. But like people can probably accept Sonoda. It's a bit of a different situation with obviously the car. But for Antonelli, it feels like Canada and Miami was a long time ago now. And I fear for him, as much as anything, that the kind of mentality on this now is starting to shift a bit. When he had that moment in FP1 in Monza where he dipped it into the gravel and those kind of mistakes, there's only so many times you can do that. And it's just like, oh, well, Give him time. He's gonna come good. I mean, do you get what I'm saying, or are you determined to defend him here?
I'm determined to defend him because, like I said, these at least I would say, like I say, 28 being someone's peak is even selling it short, erring on the side of young. It's this pipeline just goes too quickly. We're having these drivers come in and fail out a decade before their best. We're not seeing their best. We did not see anything close to the best of Ericsson, anything close to the best of Giovinazzi, anything close to the best, even of Latifi, of Sargent. These
Oh
guys
yeah,
were a
but come on,
decade away
Latifi
from
and
prime.
Sargent, they were never
They're
gonna get there.
in a decade though.
Yeah, but I just
They're better.
you. It's
They're
too
better than
ruthless of a business. It's too much money goes into it. Too much cost with the crashes. Look at Mick Schumacher. Everybody wanted Mick Schumacher to get good, but he had too many crashes, too many moments, and then that's what probably cost him a seat.
But even then, still, how good would Schumacher be if he was still around by 2035? Oof. You know what I mean? It's like the pipeline's just running too quickly. We're not seeing these drivers get anywhere close to their prime. I don't think Leclerc or Russell are at their prime yet, or
No,
Norris.
yeah, I don't think they're far off though. I do think people like Russell in particular is pretty close now. You know, he has had some pretty stellar performances over the last couple of years now. But to kind of round off this subject, if you could choose the lineup for 2027 at Mercedes, because obviously that's what the big talking is now. If you're getting Verstappen in, which driver are you replacing for him?
Oh yeah, Antonelli.
You are,
Because you
yeah,
got now, if you
yeah.
can get Verstappen.
Okay, okay.
But if I can't get Verstappen, I'm keeping that lineup.
Not tempted by a little Carlos Sainz for a year or two?
No, I think Carlos Sainz is overrated.
Oh, come on. He's only had one bad year. What about all the other years he had? Well, he beat Leclerc in 21, I think. I'm pretty sure it was. But anyways, I'm digressing. I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I could bring up the stats on that. I think he did. But more to the point, Antonelli is under a bit of pressure at the minute, and that'll be one to keep an eye on actually this weekend on how the young Italian can do.